"So, how's that baby brewing up?" Harry asked while pouring everyone a glass of wine, except me. "He's been playing a lot of soccer in there, I'll tell you that," I answered, laughing and placing my hands on the belly. "But hopefully, he'll get out soon enough." Harry chuckled, and he and my husband got back to discussing whatever detail was left in the production's calendar. Tanya, Harry's wife, on the other hand, didn't laugh at all. Instead, she stared at me with a blank expression I couldn't quite decipher. They were the ones who had invited us over for dinner to celebrate the deal my husband had signed with Harry's production company. Why is she acting like that? I wondered. But honestly, I wouldn't let her ruin what was one of the happiest moments of our lives. A few months ago, we had been living in a cramped studio downtown with 2 unpaid rents, and now we were having dinner with this big-shot producer for a movie my husband would be writing. Every day I woke up thanking God we had this before the baby was born. I was 7 months pregnant. If putting up with this woman looking at me like I was a zoo animal was the price for all this, then I'd gladly pay it. But things got weird when I, feeling nauseous, excused myself to go to the bathroom, as I had many times that night, and as I was washing my hands to get back, I heard a knock on the door. "I'm leaving," I called out to whoever was on the other side. When I opened it, it was Tanya. She stood there, glancing over her shoulder, as if checking for anyone. "You need to get out," she whispered, like she was sharing a secret. "Or they'll take your baby." Before I could even ask, "What?" she turned around and walked back to the room where our husbands were. I sat, back at the table, uneasy. What did she mean? Did I hear her correctly? Across from me, Tanya focused on the men's conversation, avoiding eye contact, pretending she hadn't just said what she did. Minutes passed in silence between me and her while the men's discussion grew louder as they drank more. "This is really a special moment," Harry said to my husband, in an emotional voice. "I remember when Tanya was pregnant. She was the most beautiful." Harry then awkwardly placed his hand over hers and she responded with a half smile. "What happened?" I blurted out, curious after the whole bathroom incident. They exchanged glances and I saw my husband look away, uncomfortable. Harry opened his mouth to answer, but Tanya spoke first. "I lost it," she said, locking eyes with me before shifting her gaze to her husband. "But I guess it was worth it." Her face was a mix of cynicism and sadness. Harry quickly got up and asked her to help him set the dessert from the kitchen. She followed without protest. Something about all of this set off a strong alarm in my mind. And it got worse when I heard a heated whispering argument erupt between Tanya and Harry in the kitchen, and my husband's reaction was the worst. He sat right beside me, silent, and wore the most guilty, ashamed face I had ever seen in my life. That's when the doorbell rang. Harry came sprinting out of the kitchen to open it. An old, grumpy-looking man stepped in, and I knew who he was because my husband had described him before. It was the movie's director. Harry and my husband treated him like a king, showering him with praise and filling his wine glass, but he remained stone-faced. The only moment of joy I witnessed was when he greeted me and noticed my belly. His lips stretched into a broad grin that sent chills down my spine. "You never told me he was coming," I whispered to my husband. He and the crew were nearby and decided to drop by. "It won't take long, but I really wanted to leave now," I continued, trying to be polite. "I'm not feeling well. I promise we'll go right after dessert," he said with a drunken smile. "Everyone talks about Tanya's cheesecake. They say it's incredible. We have to try it." Obviously, dessert was the last thing on my mind now. My anxiety grew as more and more people started coming through that door. The costume designer, the head of makeup, the VFX director, even a few of the actors. They all started showing up one by one. They greeted each other, then turned to look at me like I was the main star of some twisted movie playing out in this house. Then Tanya came back from the kitchen carrying a tray of small plates for the crew. I could see in her face, she despised them. But mine was brought by Harry himself, who carried the plate carefully like it was some precious treasure. As he placed it in front of me, I felt every eye in the room shift toward me, and an eerie silence settled. I looked at the cheesecake. It did look good, but I was certain now there was something more in it. I definitely shouldn't eat it. I'm a bit unwell right now, I said. Maybe I'll eat it later. Honey, at least give it a bite, my husband said while Harry still stood in front of us waiting. I'm just not that hungry. Can't we take it home instead? The tension in the room was suffocating. My husband's demeanor shifted instantly, his expression darkening as he gripped my arm. Honey, don't be rude. His face a mix of menace and desperation. Eat the cake. These people are helping us. That answer was proof he knew very well about whatever was going on. I hesitated, staring at the plate for a few seconds, my mind racing. But before I could speak, Tanya placed a firm hand on my shoulder. She's just having a wave of nausea, she said, her voice calm. I sure remember how bad it felt. I'll just take her to the bathroom 1 second to freshen up. Harry wasn't happy, but he sighed and nodded. Fine, but be quick. Tanya helped me up, keeping her grip steady as we walked hand in hand toward the hallway. The moment we were out of sight, she pulled a car key from her pocket and pressed it into my palm. Take my car, she whispered. It's parked outside. Second on the left. My heart pounded. What about you? They already took everything I had. Her eyes welled with tears. I'll be fine. Just go. Now. I followed her into the bathroom, where she locked the door behind us and helped me jump through the window. I ran to the spot she pointed as fast as a 7 months pregnant woman could. My hands trembled as I fumbled with the key, but as soon as the engine roared to life, I floored it. In the rearview mirror, I saw the house shrinking in the distance, while my phone buzzed with calls from my husband. My small vessel careens the choppy waters. I wipe the sweat from my brow. The weather is sweltering, despite the cloud covering above us. My mission calls, as it did for my father before me and his grandfather before him. I'm unsure if it's the sea itself which calls or something within its depths, but I know I must answer, James says, jotting the words down on paper. I tend to ignore his odd ramblings because, well, he pays me a lot to man this boat. But I start to wonder if it's really all worth it. Our boat glides over aquamarine waves. Large, dark rocks jut out of the water like teeth. It's becoming tough to avoid them. I don't like the looks of this. It's getting pretty dangerous out here, I say. You're not getting a damn cent if you don't keep fucking going, he screams, a vein popping out of his forehead. I waver in anger, but ultimately continue on, appearing out of nowhere, cool blasts of fog. We become suffocated inside it. Panic ensues in my mind. I scream, hardly able to see anything. Calm down, just follow my lead, James says. We are almost at the coordinates. The coordinates my own father sacrificed his life to get. The fog dissipates quicker than it arrived. I turn towards James, who watches in eager anticipation as we inch closer to the destination. We're here. One can only traverse this forbidden area every 60 years. Other times it ceases to exist. He looks overjoyed. Soon I'll have accomplished what my ancestors tried for millennia. What the fuck is that? I say. In the now motionless waters before me float a couple dozen severed arms. Fresh removals, I assume due to the blood filling the water. I dare not ask where they're from. I lean over the side of the boat and hurl. My mind and legs feel like jello. What has he gotten me into? In my nervous contemplation, I feel a hand touch my back. I turn around to see James. He shoves me into the eerie waters. "You have served your purpose," he says, giddy with excitement. I am closer now than my forefathers ever were. Frantic, I paddle back, trying to reach the boat. All the while James looks on in eager anticipation. The severed limbs twitch before pointing in my direction. They thrash towards me, splashing blood all about the beautiful blue water. "James! James! Let me back on board!" I scream, but it's to no avail. Before I know it, the limbs drag me under. I begin my slow descent towards the murky depths beneath the sun's warmth. The last thing I hear before going under is James speaking. "My father would be proud," he says. As I sink, holding my breath, I notice something above me. A strange blue symbol now glows in the sea, just above where I was dragged under. I recalled James's rambling of an ancient language, one lost to time. To the normal human eye, it would be unreadable. I can understand it, my whole bloodline can. That's why I'm here, he said the day prior. I watch as the boat continues its course without me. I sank for what felt like an eternity, the arms keeping a ghoulish grip on my body. It's strange. Despite being dragged further below, I don't feel any different. The pressure has no effect on me. And the weirdest part, I can breathe underwater. Is it that strange light above the surface? Even though I'm far below where the light of the sun reaches, that strange blue light remains visible, hundreds of feet above me. That's the last thing I remembered. When I woke up, I'm in a dark, damp cave. I fumble around on the cave floor, eventually brushing my hand on something made of leather, a book. Just enough light from the morning sun glistens in off the water to render it visible. It has hundreds of pages, all of James' ramblings collected into one book of madness. I skim through it before reading the last page. I know where my next destination lies. Commandeering the ship, I head west. I no longer have any need for maps or navigational tools. The sigil told me everything I need to know. Though the distance traveled is vast, it appears to take no time at all. Before I know it, my boat comes closer to the cave's entrance. Large stalagmites peek out of the waves at the mouth of the cave, beckoning one inside. The interior is unseeable from the outside. I stop my boat right outside this esoteric entrance, not bothering to anchor it or tie it down. Soon I won't need it after all. Stepping out of the boat, I begin my swim into the mouth of the watery cave. It chills me to my bone, but I don't mind, only focused on going forth. As I prepare to traverse the murky waters, I spot a fleeting glimpse of lone limbs struggling to swim alongside me. A sense of familiarity washes over me. On one limb, a shiny object around the wrist catches my eye. My dad's old watch. Soon I'd join him in the deep. I can view his presence even from the mouth of the cave. It glows the same way that forgotten sigil had, beckoning me forth. He'll soon be before me, glowing a strange bluish-green hue, his arms outstretched, waiting to embrace me, wearing a skeletal grin. Soon I could finally join him on his ship, in the depths.